Good evening, everyone. The 9th of December, and we've had a lot of just a super busy week last week and the last couple of weeks. If you're joining us from the US, I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I haven't had a chance to talk to all of you. If you are joining us from Singapore, I hope these last few weeks have held you absolutely breathless. I'm so incredibly proud of all of you, and I'm going to be actually doing a special presentation to say thank you to all of you and to also really celebrate the people that had such great achievements this month, or last month, I'm sorry, November. So November was a rocking month for all of us. Big increases in volume for all of us and big increases for enrollment. And I'm seeing so much engagement and people really getting out of their comfort zone and just doing something completely new. So I'm really, really proud of you. And I know many of you are just kind of in this time where you're thinking, oh my gosh, what do I do next? So we're going to talk a little bit, number one, about the special for this month, which is frankincense. I know you've all really been super keen about learning more about frankincense. It's one of our most important products. This is the time of year where frankincense is celebrated. If you know, in the Christian church, when the Christ child was born, the gifts that were given to him were actually gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And while we have frankincense and myrrh, we don't have gold, but we can celebrate in a way that really reminds us that this is a special time of year. And so if you're not celebrating Christmas, I'm going to invite you to try your frankincense in a brand new way. And we're going to go through in a couple of minutes some new ways and some really creative ways that you can be using your frankincense. I know it's one of your favorites, but you want to really continue to use it and to incorporate it into your daily routine if you haven't done so already. The other thing that I want to really mention to you, and I've been announcing this on the weekly announcements, whether you're on the WhatsApp or you're in the Facebook chat groups, is that we have two special guests today. And we've never really done two guests at one time, but two special guests. We have Fernando Valencia and Adam Gugino, and they're actually going to get on and they're going to talk to us about a live event that's going to be happening here in the US on the 10th, 11th, and 12th of January. And that's about something they're going to talk about, which is human influence, but really that integrity-based human influence. Now, all of us are in the business of talking to people, of explaining things to them, of helping them to come to a yes in a way that feels honorable and dignified for both us and the person who says yes. And you want to step through that process. About 2 or 3 months ago, I had Sean Calgi on. Sean Calgi is actually the founder of the Unblinded Movement. And he's talked to us live here on this Zoom call also about the live event and what's going on. But I think in all honesty, what's going to work for you, whether you're coming to the event in January or whether you just want to hear what Fernando and Adam are going to talk about, when you step away from our Zoom class today, I think you're going to feel, I really learned something and they gave back to me. I think they have a very strong sense of giving and also wanting us to be incorporated into this movement. I have had the great good fortune to meet these gentlemen and to work side by side with them since February, I guess, of last year. February of this year. And I've seen amazing movement, not only in this team, but in the way I'm relating to people and how I'm showing up on a daily basis. And my ability to merge ecosystems, and that's a phrase that they're going to talk about a little bit, has really increased since I've had the time to talk to them and to be included with all these wonderful, very dynamic people. Another group aside from you all who are my wonderful, dynamic people. So don't get me wrong, this is kind of two different groups and they're kind of merging for the first time. So you've never heard this information, you're going to hear it for the first time, but let me get started because we've got a lot of stuff to cover today. So hold on one second. Let me share my screen with you. Okay, so you all know me, I think. I don't need any introductions. We've been talking here for the last 6.5 years, but in case you're new to this call, I'm Elena Jordan, and I'm the host of this weekly Zoom, and I'm so happy that you're here, and to just say congratulations if you are here for the first time. I think you're gonna love it. Thank you to all our presidential diamonds. Our team is just exploding. We've had some fabulous rank advancement this month, 2 new blue diamonds. And like I said, I'm going to do a special Zoom just on those rank advancements because I feel like this is just a powerful group and I'm so incredibly proud of them. And I want to give them their due, not kind of squeeze them into a larger framework, but just really talk about them. Today we're talking about the power of frankincense, as I mentioned to you before, and I'm going to get started right away. I want to hear in the chat group, what are you using your frankincense for? Now you can get a free frankincense this month, you know, if you order a 200 PV order, and I want to make sure that you're getting your free frankincense and that you're using it because it really is going to help you, your family, and your health. Okay, the most of the ideas that are contained in this presentation are from the book Essential Oils Healthcare for Today. Oh, sorry about that, folks. And it is fondly known as the LRP book, or the Loyal Rewards Program book. And it's about the top 50 health issues from A to Z. If you don't have this book and you're working in new markets that are not open yet, this is really the book for you. Okay. All right, frankincense. What are we talking about here? Here it is, the king of oils. I like to think of this as the Swiss Army knife of essential oils. If you're not using it, I really want to know why, because it is the most amazing product. We know that it's been used in ancient religions, in spiritual practices throughout the world. Egyptians, Greeks, Romans, Christians, Jews, Muslims, Hindus, and Buddhists, excuse me. And if you are a yoga enthusiast or you're a morning meditator, you want to diffuse your frankincense essential oil, you want to apply it perhaps to your forehead or to the top of your head, the back of your neck. The fragrance is going to give you just that sense of satisfaction, peace, relaxation, and feelings of overall wellness in your morning routine. It has a lot of strong aromatic properties, so even if you're not applying it, you can just be inhaling it, adding it to your diffuser. Okay, let's talk about some of the uses and benefits. We know it has an incredible aroma, and you can use it in a DIY spray. So let's talk about it for a second. You're going to get an empty glass bottle, put about 15 drops of frankincense oil, and then grapefruit and Douglas fir. And in my humble opinion, these are 3 oils that blend really well together. You've got your resin of your frankincense, you've got your citrus from your grapefruit, and then you've got your fir oils. Now, depending where you're living, you may not have that many conifer trees, but where I live in the northern part of the United States, that's the only thing that we have right now with any sort of greenery on it. So we know that this is a kind of a permanent, enduring, lasting fragrance. And we combine frankincense, which has been around for millennia, with that lasting, woody, strong, rooted fragrance of Douglas fir. We have a really powerful combination. One of frankincense's most powerful benefits is its ability to promote health, specifically cellular function. So we want to try to take it either under the tongue, 1 or 2 drops under the tongue each day, or in a veggie capsule if you don't love to take it under the tongue. What I love about frankincense, it is relatively mild and easy to use on children. So if you're feeling like the pressures of life are weighing you down, you want to apply it to the bottoms of your feet, perhaps, to give you that uplifting sensation. It also has a soothing aroma that's going to help you feel relaxed and balanced. So here's a couple, and those of you who have your phones out, you can take a quick snapshot of these. Many of these suggestions were taken from the book Essential Oil Life, which is my second other favorite book, and we're not going to talk about it today, but it is really a powerhouse. So you can add frankincense to your face lotion by combining 2 drops, massaging into the skin, diffusing, as I said before, making your room spray, dental hygiene, put it in your bath, even your healthy fingernails. But let's get a little bit deeper. For ailments, now these are not my recommendations, they do come from a book. You can look at things like any sort of tumors, seizures, Alzheimer's, depression, wound healing and wrinkles, scars and stretch marks, sciatica, back pain, and headache. And I know this sounds like snake oil to a certain degree, but frankincense is one of those ancient medicines that's been used again and again and again. What I love about frankincense is that there are a lot of studies, and if you go back to the book, Essential Oil Life, you'll see the studies that pertain to these particular uses for frankincense. And so I'm not going to go into them in great detail, but I want you to make sure that you're using your frankincense and incorporating it in many different areas of your life. Okay, few more. Immune system, liver detox, autoimmune, warts. I mean, folks, you can use your frankincense for everything. So if you haven't heard some of these uses and you're interested in finding out more, I want you to begin to type in the chat area how you're using frankincense and maybe a new use that you saw today. The other thing that I want you to give me in the chat area is, what are the things that you blend your frankincense with? Are you blending it? And if you are, what are you blending it with? Okay, let me give you a few DIYs and then we're going to go right to Fernando and Adam. Okay, here's a clay mask that I actually like clay masks. I feel like they're detoxifying, and they can really, especially if you live in a city. I don't live in a city, but I live very close to it, and we are exposed to environmental pollution all the time. Clay masks can be a wonderful way to refresh the skin. This is no different, using frankincense, lavender, and melaleuca. And you're gonna just combine this in a bowl, apply it to your face, not to your eyes, let it dry, and then also splash, rinse it off with water, and follow with moisturizer. So here's a couple of diffuser blends. This is kind of a fun one. Arborvitae, cedarwood, and frankincense. Now, you all know arborvitae is not only strong, it's very woody smelling. And if you haven't smelled it before, take a whiff from the bottle, perhaps you before you put it in your diffuser blend. But I think, especially gentlemen, this is one that I think you will like. Get Up and Go. If you want a little bit of a pick-me-up, black pepper, again, your frankincense, bergamot, and white fir. Now, white fir, I know I put it in here because I know some of you are hoarding stashes of white fir. It is no longer available. However, you can substitute white fir for Siberian fir if you prefer, or our brand new black spruce. So if you are a white fir hoarder, I would suggest that you drop off 2 drops in this particular diffuser blend. You really like it. If you don't have white fir, then please use our new black spruce or Siberian fir. Okay, frankly herbal, basil, geranium, and frankincense. So this is kind of a cool blend. And I think, so here we are. So now that we've kind of quickly gone through our uses for frankincense, give me a couple of things in the chat, and then you know we're going to be having a prize, as we always do at the end. I want to make sure that you've got your chats, because I think I'm going to be picking my winners, not just from the chat, but from the person who's engaged. I think what we're trying to do now, folks, is really engage. So I'm going to give you a minute. I'm going to encourage you to all turn on your cameras if you don't have your camera on, because I know Fernando and Adam are going to have their cameras on, and I want to make sure that you're able to communicate with them and see them, because they really are the dynamic duo. And I think it's important that when we're on a conference call like this, that we give our full attention to whoever is speaking. So hold on one second and let me stop the share. Hold on. Oops. There we go. Okay. Hey, Fernando. Hold on one second. I can see your smiling face. Hey, Naomi, how are you? Good to see you. Hi, Adeline. Let's see, who's here today? Turning on your cameras. Okay. I don't see Adam, but I see Fernando. See if I can get Fernando in the spotlight. Yep. Okay. Hey. Oh, Adam's right there. Okay, so spotlight. Let me give you this. Oops. Let me first unmute you. Hi, Fernando. Everybody's muted because we're. Hi. There we go. Okay, terrific. So there's Fernando.
Yes.
So Fernando and I met through Sean Callaghy, who's actually the founder of this amazing movement. And Fernando is super dynamic, very fun. But what I love about Fernando is that he came from a completely different background. He started talking to Sean about this merging of ecosystems. And really within a hot minute, Fernando said, you know what? This is for me. I want to do this and I'm going to hop on board. And since that time, he just has gone in full throttle. And the wonderful thing is he's kind of brought everyone along with him. And when I don't get to talk to Sean, because I know Sean is super busy and is all over the place, I always know that I can get in contact with Fernando. And that feels really good. It's like someone who's got my back and he's just there for us. So welcome, Fernando. This is our team. We're a little bit smaller today because a lot of kids are out on vacation from Singapore, but we'll get more and more, I think, as it builds. And obviously all of these Zoom classes are posted on YouTube and multiple other channels. So you'll be heard again and again, and you're being heard around the world. If you can, in the chat, tell me where you're listening from so that Fernando, because Fernando doesn't know you all. I know you all. Tell us where you're from. So thank you so much. And I'm going to hand it over to you. Go ahead.
Oh my goodness, Elena, thank you so much. I'm here with good friend and partner out of Blinded, Adam Gugino. But this call is about all of you and your greatness, your life, your time, and your magic. And I'm so honored and blessed to have this opportunity. And I'd like to start off first by, Elena, thanking you. You have been such a light, such a blessing. And hearing you here this morning, I'm not confused on why you've built such an amazing team, such an amazing culture. 6 years of doing anything consistently, like that takes superhuman ability. It's hard enough to do, one thing, like, I don't know, brushing your teeth every day. Some people don't do that, but you have managed to create this amazing ecosystem, which is what you have here, a beautiful ecosystem of leaders, of people of highest integrity, of people who are sharing an amazing product that helps them in their life, that helps them in their business, that helps them in their relationship. And it's just an honor and a blessing to connect with such powerful people. I remember when we met, your voice, your certainty, your Zeus energy in any room is like unquestionable. Your ability to lead is unquestionable. Your charisma, your love for people is something that is so admirable. And I just want to thank you. Thank you for allowing myself, Adam, the Unblinded community, Sean in the past, to be here with all of you. I just want you to know how serious we take this, because you're around the world. You could be many other places and you chose to be on this call. Whether it's 8 a.m. here on the East Coast or 9 p.m. there in Singapore, like you chose to be here. You've had your day. There's many other things. You could be like relaxing, watching TV, drinking a glass of wine. And you're like, no, I want to better my life. I want to be around doTERRA and Elena and like continue to grow my business, continue to change people's lives. And that is a significant fact. So Elena, thank you. Amanda and all of you in the chat. Let me just take a quick peek in the chat and see who's here with us. But Luke, thank you. And Evelyn and Sunvi and Z and Sayo. And I apologize, I'm saying these wrong. I want to just take a chance because I want to be grateful for you. Naomi and Anne and Elaine and all of you for like really like being here on this call. And I want to make sure we take, full opportunity of these next 20, 25 minutes that we have with you. My commitment is to make sure that we're finished, right around 8:45, 8:50 and really jump in. So please take some notes. I'm going to keep an eye on the chat. I'd love to answer any and all questions. And the biggest and the best outcome is that you have the beginnings of a formula, as Elena mentioned, to help you go from hello to yes. And a lot of you could be wondering, like, what does that mean? Some of you might think sales, like you got to have people buy something. That's a hello to yes. Some of you might think like, hey, I want to find a spouse. I want to be in a relationship. That's a hello to yes. Some of you might be thinking, hey, I want to go to my favorite restaurant and get like my favorite seat in the corner, like with the best lighting for like this person that I love. That is a hello to yes. And you might be wondering, like, how do I get someone to join my team? How do I get someone to like speak my language? How do I get someone to learn? How do I get someone to be on a 6-year like Zoom call that is all rooted on hello to yes? And like, first off, let me start with this. And what I'm about to teach you, all of you may already know. If you're on this call and you are successful, you already are part of the formula, which is known as integrity-based human influence. We do not claim to have created like this amazing formula. What we claim to do or have done and are doing is synthesized the formula of formula. Synthesized meaning we took all this information, countless hours of content, leaders of information, and we synthesized it down to a simple formula on how to go from hello to yes, and it's rooted with integrity and love. And if we think about for a second of anyone that we remember in history, anyone that is in textbooks, anyone that has left a lasting impact, Mother Teresa, Jesus Christ, Gandhi, Buddha, Mandela, like Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan, all these people, Derek Jeter, they had many beautiful things, many skills, many characteristics. But ultimately, bottom line, they all had one common thread. And that is what we believe at Unblinded and integrity-based human influence is the singular, most superhuman ability that any man or female can have in this lifetime is influence, is the ability to galvanize, the ability to create their own ecosystem, the ability to create a group is rooted on integrity-based human influence, how to go from hello to yes. So I want to give you an overall, and then I want to throw Adam Gugino in here. I want to give you an overall like understanding of what that is. So I'm going to give you a 30,000 foot view just so you understand like the syntax of the conversation. I'm going to give you a 30,000 foot view. I'm going to let Adam, who is an absolute rock star, has become a dear friend. And what I love most about Adam is his ability to love. Like if there's one thing that radiates from this man, and I promise you, when he jumps on the microphone, you're going to feel it, is that he loves people. He genuinely loves people. And that's why the formula is so natural to him. And this man, that beyond loving people, he has created like a story and records that some people can't even fathom. Like, let's just start off with a game. And I know a lot of us are successful in this group. When Adam started at this company called Momentum Solar, they were annualizing around $4 million a year, $4 million a year. And I want you to answer this in the group chat. If I were to ask you a question, if I were to say, hey, what would be a number in 4 years that if Adam took the company from 4 million to X, 4 million to 5 million, 4 million to 7, whatever number, 4 million to X in 4 years, what would be a number that would absolutely shock you and be like, no way, impossible, Fernando, you're lying to me. There's no way Adam did that. What would be a number that would be so extraordinarily amazing that you would not be able to believe what that would be? So if you can just drop some in the chat group right now, if Adam were to take a company from 4 million to another number larger than that in 4 years, what would be a number that would absolutely shock you? Like, just guess. As I wait for some to be in the group chat, what would be a number that would completely blow your mind? I see some here, I see 25 million. Like, that's a crazy number. Yeah, I think 25 million is a crazy number. Is there anyone else that would like to guess another number? Another number that's higher than 25 million, maybe less than 25 million, 100 million. Elaine says, Adam, there's no way, total BS, 100 million is absolutely impossible. And like, maybe, I'm not sure. Let's check one more time. I'll give everyone like 2 more seconds. 25 million, 100 million, going once, going twice. And like, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. Not only did Adam take the company from 4 million to 25 million, not only did he take the company from 4 million to 100 million, in 4 years, he was able to take Momentum Solar, that was in the Inc. 100 top businesses. He was able to take it from 4 to 750 million. Let's let that land for a second. He was able to take a company from 4 million to 750 million. Now, I'm going to pass the microphone over to Adam in a second, but I'm going to give it, and he's going to teach you about the power of building a sales team, the power of building the right culture, and the power of duplication. Because that's what we're doing here. We're building sales teams. We're building a culture, which Elena so beautifully orchestrates every single Monday. And like, we're teaching you how to go from hello to yes. And that's what Adam is going to talk about. He's going to talk about the power of a team, culture, and how to go from hello to yes and replicate yourself. So now I want to give you a 30,000 foot view on what integrity-based human influence is. I'm going to let him go into those topics, and I'm going to end it with something that we all love, which is building emotional rapport. How to actually go from hello to yes quickly, which is only one of 4 steps, 10 indispensable elements, and 4 energies. So we're really only going to be able to touch about 4% of the entire formula. And that's why we're going to invite you, to join us in January. And we'll get there in a second. So now, breakdown. This is a good opportunity to take some notes. Integrity-based human influence is broken up into 3 parts. Integrity-based human influence is broken up into 3 parts. It's broken into 1, self-mastery. Self, S-E-L-F, mastery. It's broken up into 3 parts, self-mastery.
And guys, I'm going to be typing some of this into the chat so you can also be copying from the chat. And before you go on, I also want to say I love Adam because Adam got on the phone with us the other night and kind of just jumped in and said, you know what, I'm ready to go. Here I am. And so I know that it's a little bit early for everyone. At least it's early for us on the East Coast. But Adam was so incredibly dynamic, told me his story, was really just, you know, pouring his heart out to me. And then at the end, he said, I'm ready to go and I'm ready to connect with your team. So Adam, I'm so happy that you're here and that you were able to get on the call with us today.
Thank you so much. And yeah, everything that Fernando described, Elena, about you is incredible. And I am very grateful to be on this call and to be able to connect with people all over the world. One of the questions people ask me all the time is, you know, how did I scale the business? And I know Fernando is going to continue to do a quick overview, but I'm here to just answer that question. Like, how did I go from 3 to 700 million in 4 short years and go from 1 employee to 500 in that time frame? You'll be surprised how simplistic the answer may be, but the formula is wrapped up all inside of it. So please, Fernando, continue with your overview, and I look forward to coming back and, you know, just giving my secret sauce. And really, that's what I'm here to do.
Woo! Don't you just love that energy? I can be around this man all the time. This is about you and your life, your time, and your magic. So let's jump right back in. Thank you, Mr. Gugino. So we have 3 parts. We have self-mastery, which is rooted on the formula on how to get yourself to do the things you need to do. We wake up in the morning, we don't want to. We don't want to go to the gym. We don't want to pick up that phone. We don't want to make that next phone call. We don't want to go to that next meeting. We don't want to do that next event, and we must. So self-mastery is rooted on a formula. And we're going to table that there for now because I really want to focus on influence mastery. Number 2, after self-mastery, is process mastery. Process mastery is the math and the numbers of business. The math and the numbers of business. Because what you measure, you can manage. Let's say that again. What you measure, you can manage. And process mastery is rooted in matching, modeling, measuring, and falling in love with numbers. Matching, modeling, falling in love with numbers. So in process mastery, we have a few words like ecosystem mergers, which Elena said, and which we'll dive into very briefly. But in process mastery is the math of numbers, the math of numbers, which numbers are like the language of business. So process mastery is rooted on like what to do. So self-mastery is how to get yourself in state. Process mastery is like, how do you like apply the formula? And then we have influence mastery, which is the most beautiful thing, most beautiful human technology I've ever seen. And it's rooted in love and integrity, how to go from hello to yes. And influence mastery, which is we're going to spend the most of our time here today. Then I'm going to pass it off to Adam and I'm going to wrap up at the end, is in influence mastery, we have 4 steps. In influence mastery, we have 4 steps, 10 indispensable elements. We have 4 steps, 10 indispensable elements, and 4 energies. In influence mastery, we have 4 steps, 10 indispensable elements, and 4 energies. That is the overview of the formula. You might be wondering like, oh my God, like how did Adam do this with such a simple formula? And that's the beauty of it. It's not supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be fun. And when you take 22 years, millions of dollars as Sean Callaghan has, because Sean Callaghan is a wonderful man. He travels the world. He's a national speaker. He just spoke on the #1 personal development stage on the planet, known as Tony Robbins' Date with Destiny. Absolutely crushed it. He was on stage, dominated, had about 900 of the 5,000 people stand up, create action, shattered all records in the world of Tony Robbins. Like that's what just happened yesterday, literally yesterday. And it's rooted on this formula, which is self-mastery, the formula to get yourself into state. Process mastery, which is matching, modeling, falling in love with numbers, and measuring the numbers of business, the language of business. And influence mastery, which is 4 steps, 10 indispensable elements, and 4 energies. So I'm going to pass it over to Adam. And when we pass it back, we're going to focus on step 1 of 4. Step 1 of 4, which is building emotional rapport, which is the key and the access for having people see their future in you. Because the greatest gift that you can give anyone, the greatest gift that you can give anyone is to have them feel seen, have them feel heard, and have them feel understood. And what I'm going to teach you, what we are going to teach you, is the beginning of that. People don't get that gift. Sometimes at home, sometimes definitely not at work, sometimes ever in their life. And what we're going to teach you is how to give it to them like that, whenever you want to. And step one, building emotional rapport. But before we jump into that, I want you to listen to Adam here, who's going to teach you about duplication, scaling a business, replication, and how to build an amazing culture. So here we go, Adam Gugino.
Thank you. Thank you again, Fernando. I greatly appreciate this opportunity to just let you know exactly, how and why it was so important to me to scale the business that I did. Number one, I believed in what I was offering, and that's so important in anything that you're doing, believing in the product or service. And it was a solar company. We were helping people save money on their electric bill, at the same time helping the environment, something I can absolutely believe in and rally the team around. But the two key ingredients when really talking about how you can scale so quickly in such a short amount of time was, once again, process mastery and influence mastery. Under the guidelines of process, there is no way you could go from me being my one employee to 513 different departments in that amount of time if you weren't concerned about process. And one of the biggest keys to process is to be able to measure. Without the ability to measure, you cannot manage. You cannot manage what you can't measure. And the numbers of the team was something that you always had to be aware of and focus on. Now, during that process, when you're putting measurements in place, you're setting goals. And when you talk about influence, there's a few things. One, in my secret to success, you mentioned it, was leading with love, which is also one of the indispensable elements. When you truly, truly care about your team and the people that you're offering your product or service to, when that is your ultimate goal, your employees and your team, you cannot lose. You will always win. And if it doesn't start there, really, there's no point in starting the conversation, because I have to credit 90% of my success just with that simplistic concept of leading with love and leading with my heart. It is actually how I got to where I'm at right now, because I continue to follow my heart, and my heart took me here right now on this call. So that's where it starts. Now, we also had a culture. You mentioned team. Teamwork is so important when you're measuring numbers, when you're setting goals. The culture of the team, it in a lot of ways is whether or not you hit a goal or break a record. We broke records month after month. We made Inc. 500 3 years in a row, which is the fastest companies in the country to grow. And it's all predicated on the year prior. So your sales had to exponentially increase year after year. How did we increase our sales exponentially? Through the fun and excitement of selling. We made sales fun. We hit goals and we celebrated our wins. Of course, if we missed a goal, we were down, but we always made sure to acknowledge and recognize the individuals that still had great months. That was so important to our culture. But when we hit the goal, wow, we celebrated. We celebrated with all kinds of fun things. But we popped bottles of champagne, and we made sure that it did not just go by and go on to the next month. Now,
okay, I'm going to interrupt you for half a second, Adam, because I think one of the things that I know this group knows about is celebration. So one of the things that happens when we make rank is that we have a giant party in Utah for 35,000 people. And what we do is we set up a giant, like the Oscars and the Emmys have their red carpets, we set up something that's called the purple carpet. And depending on what rank you've reached, you get to walk down this giant carpet and people throw confetti at you and they cheer for you and they announce your name and you get to pick a signature song. So do we know about celebration, doTERRA? We absolutely do. Here's the other thing. everybody who comes actually to Utah from this team, and some of you know this and some of you don't, I always host a champagne party for them at a local restaurant. So after they get their giant celebration, then they get their mini celebration too. So I think we absolutely we know what celebration is about. And honestly, if you haven't been to Utah, you got to be there to believe it. It's in the Utah Jazz Arena, 35,000 of us strong, just kind of cheering and going crazy. So while we may seem like you're quiet, sort of essential oil people we know about fun.
And you know, it is such a key ingredient to the success that I had. And, you know, fun and excitement throughout the month, and was always on the top of our list, because if you're not enjoying what you're doing, I mean, then you're doing the wrong thing. There's no question. So one of the other real keys, and I'm sure you guys understand this as well, is replacement. The focus on replacement of yourself. A lot of times you find people who are concerned about being an open book, about giving away their secrets or their information. Constantly focusing on how you can replace yourself in a culture of replacement is how you advance and how you grow. And that truly was one of the biggest differences in, you know, what I saw in other companies and other places that I've been, than what we created in this culture, in this environment. And really, one more thing I want to just add, we won an award, and it was Inc. 300 of the best companies to work. Of all the sales records and everything we did, that was wonderful. But ultimately, it was the fact that we had a company that, you know, that people voted, the employees voted for to be one of the best places to work. And it sounds like that's something that you guys absolutely have going on as well. And truly the formula, although while I was, you know, breaking records and hitting goals, I really didn't understand how embedded the formula was in everything that I did. But once I found the formula, I met Fernando and I met Sean, and I realized that there was an actual process around what I had been doing. It has literally taken me to the next level exponentially. And that's why we're here to share that with you and that secret with you on January 10th, 11th, and 12th. And there's nobody better at building emotional rapport than Fernando. So I'm going to kick it back to him to give something for you to take away with and for you guys to use in your business. And, you know, I know I'm saying for both of us, we really look forward and hopefully meeting you guys face to face and giving you a lot more of this information. Once again, thank you again for the time that I had. I hope you got some good tips. And here is Fernando.
Thank you, Mr. Gugino. And you know, I'm always mesmerized by hearing you speak. One of the things that you've really instilled in our culture that we're building here in Unblinded is like duplication and replication. And please, you know, remember his name, but also remember like that. Remember the power of duplication and replication, because we're in a world here at doTERRA where we have to help other people speak the language, which is why I was so proud and like in deep listening to Elena, so I can tell the detail in her language at the beginning of that presentation was all in service of duplication and replication. 6 years, and that is why, Elena, you are where you are. So now let's dive in. With the few minutes we have left, I want to honor our commitment. 4 minutes, we're gonna run right through it, building emotional rapport. Now, a lot of you might have heard like rapport, like, hey, like, what's your name? Where are you from? Oh my God, like, do you watch sports? You like the Giants? Well, I love the Jets. Or like, oh, I grew up here. Oh my God, like my dog's babysitter grew up there. Like, that's amazing. And like, some people think that's rapport. And maybe, but like, question, you don't have to answer, maybe you answer in the chat. Like, have you ever been in a conversation with someone and then totally wondered like one of these things? What are we talking about? I have no idea where we are in the conversation. Or like, what did they just say? Like, that happens, maybe, sometimes. But when you have a formula on like where to be in a conversation, I promise you it doesn't happen. I was having a conversation with David Dean yesterday, total stranger, lovely kid from Germany. And we're so embedded in the formula that we were able to pitch and catch, have a dual conversation with this man that we just met with zero planning. And because of the formula, we knew exactly where we were in the conversation, which is exactly what I'm going to teach you now. Ready? Note time, write it down, write like crazy. Here we go. Building emotional rapport has 5 steps. building emotional rapport has 5 steps, and there's 5 questions. I'm going to go through the questions, give you examples of the questions and a little meat, and then we're going to wrap. So emotional rapport is built on 5 steps. Step number 1 is, where have you been? Step number 1, so this is step 1 of step 1, building emotional rapport, is where have you been? And where have you been means to go backwards, is to go back in time to like where they were. And let me give you some access points to that question. So like, hey, a question here, if I was building rapport with all of you, would be like, hey, like, what brings you on this call? Another one would be like, why did you join doTERRA? Like, you know, why did you come to this event? It's going backwards. It's going backwards. It's going backwards. And you might be wondering, like, why do I want to do that? Because people want to talk about them. If there's anything a person loves to hear is their name, if there's anything a person loves to do is talk about them. People love that. It is a fact. It is psychologically true. And when you do that, what happens on a chemistry level is it releases dopamine and endorphins to the person. And when you are the cause of that release of dopamine and excitement, they begin to love you at a subconscious level. These are facts, 100%. So question 1 is, where have you been? And it's rooted on going back in time and hearing their story. Question 2 is, where are you now? Where are you now? So like the question number 1, which is, where have you been? Like, why doTERRA? Why this call? Then I'm going to say like, so like, what are you up to with doTERRA? So an example of where have you been is like, what are you up to now? Like, what's happening today? Like, how are you with your business? What are you focused on at the moment? Those are all questions rooted on question 2, which is, where are you now? So where have you been is the past, question 1. Question 2, where are you now, is the present. So question 1, where have you been, is the past. Like, why are you on this call? What brought you here? Question 2, where have you been, is like, what are you up to? How are you doing? What's your focus today? Question 3, now we're going into the future, which is, where are you going? And like, this is the question of questions, because this is going to release the most excitement, the most love, when we ask it in an aspirational way, which aspirational is one of our 4 energies, because people love to dream and talk about their vision for reality. They love to talk about their purpose, why they exist, dreams, things they want to accomplish. This is the question of questions to truly fall in love with someone. So the question 3, which is, where are you going? An example of that question would be, hey, so like, oh my God, you're doing all these amazing things, acknowledgement, validation. You're like, you weren't here. You came to this event. You're a blue diamond now. That is absolutely incredible. Oh my God, I'm so proud of you. There's so many people that like try and work to accomplish what you've accomplished. Where are you going? Example would be like, hey, Elena, if everything worked out your way, what would that look like in 6 months? Elena, if like you knew like you were going to pass away in 5 years, 10 years, 100 years, what would you want like people to say about you when that moment came? This is an example of a question, where are you going? It is future-paced, aspirational. Most people react this way when you ask that question. Wow, that's a really good question. I never really thought of that. And they get into their heart, and they begin to think, and they begin to love. And that's when endorphins and dopamine is released, and people truly begin to share why they exist on the planet. So that's question 3. Question 1, where have you been, is the past. Question 2, where are you now, is the present. And question 3, aspirational, where are you going, is the future. Now, once you hear all that, and you constantly acknowledge and validate, which are 2 of our 10 indispensable elements. Adam talked about love. I'm talking about acknowledgement and validation. There's 7 others, and I wish we could go into them, but we can't right now. And we're going to go into question 4, which is, what's working. Question 4 is, what's working? Like, what's working? So an example of that would be, oh my God, like, what are you doing right now to get to this amazing goal? You know, what have you done that has helped you get to that point? What do you feel you can continue to do to reach that beautiful dream you just shared with me? Like, that is what's working. And then question 5, which is like the power of all powerful questions. And this is when you get to begin to go to step 2 of 4. And the 4 steps is, what's not working. And here's when you love, here's when you listen. And what you'll realize is that when you ask question 4, which is like, what's working, most people will say like 1 or 2 sentences and then go directly to question 5 automatically, which is what's not working. Because people want to share their pain. Let me say that again. People want to share their pain. And when you create the space for them to do so with love and integrity and 5D listening, they feel seen, they feel heard, and they feel understood. And that is a magical gift to give people. And to end, an example of what's not working is like, so what have been some of the hardships along the way? What do you think is stopping you from truly making that happen? These are all examples of what's not working. So once again, to wrap up, I know.
Say one thing.
Yes.
I want to hop in because such a key to this whole method and formula, and you hear it through Fernando, is genuine interest. It has to come, again, from a place of love, from a place of caring, and have that general interest with the level 5 listening and with acknowledgement that's real. And it is real for us and for Fernando, and that's why it works. It could be used in a negative way, but that is something that you shouldn't do. However, understand this, that when you lead from love and you are truly interested in that other person, this will work for you every single time.
Thank you, Adam. So that is building emotional rapport, 5 steps, 5 questions. Where have you been? Where are you now? Where are you going? What's working and what's not? So I know we just touched the tip of the iceberg, 0.7% of this amazing formula. And Elena, I just want to take another second to just say thank you. Thank you for trusting us. I know you don't bring in speakers often. Thank you for trusting Adam. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for trusting Sean and our movement Unblinded. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. You were so adamant, and I love that. It showed your integrity and love for every single person on this group. And if you're wondering if Elena loves you, I just wanted you to know that she doesn't love you. She absolutely is infatuated with your success, with your life and your magic. The care she has for every single one of you is something that can bring tears to my eyes, because she's built such an amazing team. She's been so consistent, and yet she cares about every single detail in all 100 of you that are on this call. You have an amazing leader. You have someone that's creating a culture that I promise you is not normal. Please don't take this for granted. What Elena is doing is not normal. It is not normal in this world. It is beautiful. It is precious. And it's something to care about. And as a gift, what we'd like to do, one, is invite you to our movement, which Elena, as long as it's okay with you, I'll drop the link in the chat.
Please do.
It's unblindedmovement.com. Thank you, Elena. Please join us. We went from 0 to about 1,700 in 6 days. That is the level of acceleration that is happening. And also, we're having a full immersion event January 10, 11, and 12th, Jersey City, New Jersey, in the United States, New Jersey. And we'd like to invite you. Tickets are currently $997, and we don't want you to pay 50% of that. And what we're going to do is that for everyone on this call, everyone you know, all your friends, all your family, anyone you care about, if you want to give them the gift of more money, less time, with more magic, if you want to truly learn the singular, most superhuman ability that any male or female can have, which is influence, and if you want to care and integrity, and if you want to give the gift of having people feel seen, heard, and understood, we're going to invite all of you for $97. And for $97, you not only get 1 ticket, you get 2 tickets. So we're selling tickets for $997 for 1. We're going to give you 2 tickets for $97. Why? Because we don't want to teach you a language that you're only going to learn by yourself. And when you go back to your world, your ecosystem, your tribe, your downline, you want to have at least another person. Because if you ever watch the TED Talk, How to Build a Movement, people tend to not listen to the leader. They tend to listen to the first follower. So my name's Fernando. This is Adam Gugino. Elena, thank you so much. Please join our movement on blindedmovement.com. Please join us in January. Be there at Lowe's Theater. We're going to have 1,501 people, the beginning of the beginning, and it all begins with you. This is about you, your time, your money, your magic. We're unblinded, and we're blessed to be here with you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Elena,
you, gentlemen. My goodness. That was amazing. So I have to say, this is, as you know, we rarely have people coming on and talking on this call. This is one of these things, this is private. It's always been private. But what I love about this is they jumped on this morning and they really want to share with you all. I think the important thing is I want to share 2 things with you. Number one is there is an unblinded Facebook chat group, and I'm going to ask you, Fernando, to can you chat, add to the chat, or no? I guess maybe you can't. Yeah,
I just did.
Okay, unblindedmovement.com. And if you can also add the Facebook link so they can get onto the Facebook. There's actually a cool Facebook link, and what's happening is people before the event are actually gathering on this Facebook page and talking about the event, so that even if you don't wind up getting to the event, even if you are very far away, as I'm sure Fernando could see, that there were people that are from Malaysia and the Philippines and Singapore and Johor Bahru, JB, Brunei, Penang, literally from all over the world. And the wonderful thing about that is I think we're going to find that this unblinded movement is just going to explode globally as a result of the connections that we've been able to make today. Look, I know that I've had you on for a long, long time. I don't always have you on for so long. I really appreciate from the bottom of my heart every single minute of your time. And you know that when we're on here, this is the time for us to connect and to really show love to one another. And I actually have to say that my assistant Julia just walked in the door. Julia, come around for a second because I want everybody to see her and know her. Julia has been out actually for the last 10 days, and I've been here sweating.
Hi.
And Julia has been to some of the Calgary events and to the Unblinded Movement events. Fernando, you know Julia, you know her family. So this is not something just for, I don't know, people like me who are building a huge business. It's also for students and moms and dads and everyone who really wants to create a community and merge ecosystems and be able to get to from hello to yes in all the aspects of their lives. If you're a mom, if you're a student, if you're a business owner, this is something that you really want to connect to. I'm so happy to see you. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. It's so good. I'm so glad you're back. Crazy.
Good to be back.
Yes. She's been in Hawaii, and I know she had a great time, but I'm so happy she's back. So I wish I could hug every single one of you and that you were right here in front of me. And I've seen you actually twice in the last 3 months. I was in your region, as you know, in August and then back again in November. I'm thinking that I'm going to be back in the next couple of months. So I'm super excited to be able to just reach out and be with you on a weekly basis, but also those periodic touches where I get to see you and hug you and look into your eyes. And I think that's a super important aspect of our business. Please get on the Facebook pages. Send this link. We're going to be posting the link in the show notes at the end. So you can get on this link, you can re-listen, you can send the link to someone else. This entire presentation, the Zoom, is going to be posted on YouTube. So you'll be able to listen and get onto it as many times as you need to. And even if you listen to just snippets of it, I have to say, Fernando, as I was listening to you, and Adam, as I was listening to you, just the way you share from your heart. And also thank you for all those wonderful things that you said about me. As we know in life, there aren't a lot of people that celebrate us. And one of the things that I love about being in this group is that when I get together with them, it's that idea that there's someone looking at me and saying, hey, you did it. You're okay. You're cool. And you did this thing and you're amazing. Most of the time we labor in anonymity. And especially that feeling of nobody sees me, I may be achieving, but nobody knows what I'm doing. That's not what we have here. What we have here is a group that's always looking and always seeing and says, hey, you know what? You did it and you're really cool and I'm so important. And I'm so important that your importance is important to me. And so that's what we want to really celebrate in this group. So a long way of saying that, as always, and I usually at the end, I have 2 slides at the end of my presentation, one which says, you are amazing. So no matter what I say, no matter what I do, your amazingness has nothing really to do with me. It has to do that you've been here and we've been able to join hearts and minds, and also that you're going to have a wonderful week. I have to say, one lady that I have to just do a quick shout out to, Naomi, thank you for having your camera on. You were right, straight, and center all time. And actually, you're going to be the winner today of a Roman chamomile. So I'm really super excited. And our other winner today is actually Yahui Lin. Yahui Lin. You're the winner of a Roman chamomile. Woohoo! So Naomi, if you could just send me your last name, because I know we may have a couple of other Naomis on our team, spelled exactly the same way. We have Noemi and we have Naomi. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And actually, I think what we're going to be doing is in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be giving more prizes to the people who turn on their cameras, because I know some of you are out and about and doing sorts of things, but we really want to make sure that we're seeing your beautiful faces. So
I want some of that frankincense. I want some of that frankincense.
Absolutely.
Elena, you are very cool. You are like beyond cool.
Cute. You're so cute. So Fernando, you actually have a frankincense roll-on, don't you?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I have it in my car. I use
it.
I use literally like at least 4 to 5 times a week. No jokes aside, it's not just because you happen to talk about it today. It is actually my favorite incense. It's the incense of Jesus Christ, which I'm a big fan of as a human and as a spiritual leader. So I love frankincense.
Okay, that's cool. It's interesting because when I went to one of the first unblinded events, we were kind of a small group, and I actually gave a roll-on I went out of my comfort zone and I gave a roll-on to everybody was there. And I noticed that you gentlemen have some interesting tattoos. And one of the things that I saw was the tattoo that Fernando has on his calf, actually, which is of a cross. And I thought, you know what? Frankincense for this guy. And so that kind of observing, seeing, and trying to really connect with people. So my goal for you this week, everybody's saying, okay, I used it with oregano, how they used it. Everyone says amazing. So exciting. I think what we want to do is kind of break open the shell in 2020, right? And we're walking into a new decade, my friends. So what do we do in a new decade? We basically look towards the future. And I think that's why this movement is so important for us. We're not just finishing our year. We're not just saying goodbye to 2019. We're not just starting 2020. We are starting a movement. And if you think about 2020, what is it? It's perfect vision. So I want to make sure that we have our perfect vision going into our next decade. Okay, I send you all a lot of love. Thank you so much for having been here. Thank you, Fernando and Adam. And yes, thank you, exactly. Yay, Naomi, you're the best. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Yahweh. And I will see you all again here next week. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye now.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Congratulations. I appreciate you dearly, Elena. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.